y'all, it's Hope here at Crafty Hope, and welcome! It is time for my week 26 mixed media prompt card for hashtag Crafty Hope prompts. I'm gonna, as usual, go through the spiel of this for anybody that's new, and I welcome you if you're new, and I welcome you back if you know what's going on here. Crafty Hope Prompts is a challenge I developed for myself. I started back in October. That's how I'm on week 36. But basically, I realized that there are 52 cards in a playing card deck and 52 weeks in a year, and that seemed like the perfect opportunity to create a challenge. So I made a list of prompts, and my initial list was more than 52. So I said, well, let's make 156 prompts. So that'll be 3 prompts a week. So every week on Monday, I draw 3 prompts from that list, and I alter one of these playing cards into a prompt card. So I take whatever the 3 prompts are and I alter both sides of the card. One side I keep kind of just decorative with the prompts, and the other side I make sure the prompts are included, and I consider that my functional side. You are invited to play along. You can use the 3 prompts that I draw each week, or you can print out that list I have of prompts and draw 3 of them, draw 12 of them, make it a 3-year project if you want, and do 1 a week. You know, however you want to do this. Just use that hashtag Crafty Hope Prompts so I can hopefully check in and see what you have made with all those prompts. In addition to the cards each week, I want to kind of expand my experiences and see what else I can do with those prompts. So on Saturday of every week, I do another project. So this past week I did this canvas. Oh, I've got this altered canvas. But I've done art journal pages and junk journal pages and tags and bookmarks and little altered houses and assemblage pieces and jewelry and whatever I'm inspired to make with those 3 prompts. So this past week I made this card for week 35 using the prompts tissue paper, embroidery floss, and Pearl X powder. And it is time to draw the week 36. Did I say that was 35? It was. It's time to draw the week 36 prompts. So we're going to put these 35 bulky cards away over here and pull out some prompts. Alright, so our first prompt for week 36 is going to be rust fabric. Oh my goodness, y'all, that makes me happy. All that is I have done a lot of like rust baths with fabric. So I take rusty things, or I take metal trays and I add like vinegar or hydrogen peroxide and salt and whatever can make that oxidization. Oh, I can't say it. Make it oxidize, haha, to rust. So there's also methods to use like black tea and things that are a little less corrosive than like vinegar or peroxide if you don't want to have a chemical route. Definitely look that up. But you just throw in some fabrics, old fabrics, new fabrics, whatever, and old t-shirts, whatever you've got, and rust some fabric. So that's what I'm going to do. If you do not have rusty fabric, like I said, you can make it, or maybe take some fabric with rusty hinge dye or some, I believe that nickel azo gold looks very rusty, so you could throw that on some fabric. Or if you want to use some other rust dyed paper or something like that. I've actually got some rust papers over here, but this was my attempt to use up some of the things that are in my stash. So if you don't have rusty fabric, but maybe you've got an Ingo print fabric, use that. I'm pretty sure that prompt is probably in here as well. I think I may have already used it actually. In any case, that's prompt 1. Let's see what prompt 2 is going to be. It is going to be, ooh, black paint. Did we not already? No, I think we had black marker before. I think maybe I put black paint on there twice. Maybe we're gonna have black paint again. I don't remember. That's easy enough. I know if we've used white paint. I'm getting sidetracked. Black paint, easy enough. You could use black gesso or an acrylic paint. You could use black watercolor paint, or tempera paint, or whatever you've got that's a black paint. I will likely use some kind of black acrylic paint, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. That's easy. Okay, last one is border. So I need to create a border somehow on both my cards, my project, and that can be with anything. You can draw a border on, you can stamp a border, use fabric as a border, make a frame of some kind out of something else. Basically just create a border on it. Okay, other than Rusty Fat, let's see, I don't know what I'm gonna grab yet. Yeah, I'm gonna get my card, grab my playing card, and think about what I need to get out, and I will be back in just a minute. Okay, so what have I gathered? I looked at my scrap bin of fabrics rather than going into my office where the rest of my fabrics are stored and just dig out whatever rust I had. There's plenty in my scrap bin. There's some rusty cheesecloth. It's a ton because, yeah, that's going to be a lot because it's layers and layers, and some that have more rust on it than others. I don't even know what some of these are. One of them has a face. This is only like bits and pieces of rust. This has a neat like washer on it. This one has a face. And there's another one that just has a little bit. So plenty of rust fabric for this tiny little card. We'll figure out how I'm going to use that. Black paint. I grabbed a couple of different acrylic paints and my fine liner bottle, which has fluid black, acrylic paint, and airbrush medium in it. So that might be fun to use. We'll see. It's black paint. And border, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'm kind of thinking right now to use the black acrylic paint to make a border. But we'll see. I'm going to get started, and yeah, we'll go from there. And I started with my acrylic matte medium to add some collage to the card. I've said it just about every video. I'll continue to say it. These cards are super plastic laminated, and different materials just kind of don't stick to them. So unless you prep them with something else, it's kind of hard to work on them. So I started with some book paper. You could also try gesso or sanding it or something like that if you don't want to do any kind of collage. But for me, using this acrylic matte medium or some other kind of glue, and just collaging on top of it seems to be the best. Now I added, with this acrylic matte medium, I have found that using a bit of it tends to work better than not using enough. And I went a little crazy. It's squirting out everywhere. Like every time I move my card, there's a little puddle of this acrylic medium. So I had to keep cleaning my desk with that towel, because it's everywhere. So I have added a dictionary paper on one side and the other book text on the other side. And I'm going to just add little bits of other paper to this. So I am going to trim little bits of the excess. I'm not trying to be super fiddly about it. But since I did pull off some of the borders and stuff, I'm going to go ahead and add that on for additional texture, and partly because I wasn't real sure what I was going to do on this card, and it was an absolute surprise what happened on this card. I had no plan, but I'll show you how I get inspired as we go along. So I'm adding, some of the paper was just stuff that was already on my desk. When I flip it over, we'll see this side has the dictionary paper, and I could see like the numbers and the actual card through it. So I was trying to make sure I covered up all the parts I could see on that side. And I was less concerned with this book paper side because the book paper was thicker, but I thought, you know what? I've got all this paper sitting here. I might as well add to it. So yeah, I just kind of keep collaging. I don't know. It was feeling right, feeling good. Because I was kind of floundering, not real sure what my next steps were going to be. So yeah, I just kept at it. So I'm finally like, okay, let's do something. So I dried it and went ahead and grabbed one of my craft acrylic paints, and I've got a palette here, and I put just a little bit of that paint in there. I was looking at each side, trying to decide what I was going to do, and I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and start with the border. So I've got a flat paintbrush, fairly small, and I'm going to paint a black border around it. So that will cover both my black paint and my border prompts all in one fell swoop. Yeah, kind of cheating, but whatever. once I get this border, and y'all, I get it kind of wonky, and it's okay. It was my attempt. I could have like taped it off, or I don't know, been a little more exact with it, but I don't care. So I'm going to scoop up a little bit of that acrylic paint and put it in another little pan there and add some water so I can, of course, splatter so that black paint is on there in more than one way, because it felt like cheating to use two of those prompts in one. So, all right, so I'm drying that, and I've got my Sharpie, my water-based Sharpie paint pen. I'm going to add just some white lines inside to make this border really pop. And I love this detail. This is going to end up being my functional side with my prompt words on it. So I'm keeping it really, really simple. And you know, I almost like this side better because it feels more like me. But when you see the other side, it makes me happy too. So you'll see why in a minute. So I grabbed this piece of some of the rust fabric because it was already kind of torn from something. And I was like, well, I'm going to use this as backers for my words. So I'm going to go ahead and cut down my words. We'll skip ahead. And then I'm going to trim down my fabric to fit the words on top of them. While I was doing this, my battery started dying. I replaced my battery. I thought I hit the record button and I did not. And so y'all are going to miss me using Fabri-Tac to glue down these little stacks. And that's all it is. By the time I get them glued down, I realize I wasn't recording. So yeah, we will. Yeah, so once I laid these down, my battery was dying. So here I'm showing you, I used Fabri-Tac. I glued those down. We are all good. Super easy. So I'm going to grab a pen and write a 36 on this card. Oh, see, I started to flip it over. I was like, nope, I need a 36 on here. So I know that this was week 36's card. And that's more of a reference for me to know, yeah, if I want to go back and see what I did on that card, I can find the video. All right, so it's time to work on my decorative side, and y'all, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, ugh, I kept feeling like for the black paint, what I wanted were big black splotches or circles. So I'm going to grab a paintbrush and do just that. I think I put a little too much water on it, but it's okay. And these are going to all end up being random sizes. But I don't know why, but I was like, if I'm going to have black paint, let's go ahead and just put some big black circles on here. So once I got them on there, I was like, oh, what else can I do? I still have to add the border and the rest fabric. And so I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I will look at this for a minute and decide, so I'm going to go ahead and add some splatter there as well and dry it. And I decided to add some Posca paint pens. It is now June, so it is a Pride month. So I decided, let me go ahead and add some rainbow colors. Granted, these are not, I think the Pride flag, I don't know, there's the original one which has 6 colors, and then there's the additional one that has like the pinks and the brown and all, and I don't know all the right colors. So I am just, as an ally, I'm just using the typical 7 rainbow colors because I know those. So, but this is my little, hey, it's June, it's Pride month. Let's put some rainbow in this. So I'm using my Posca paint pens to go around each of these circles. If the lines intersect, I'm kind of like, I don't know, you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm just putting some color on here. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what my focal was going to be. I kind of had an idea that I wanted to take the rust fabric and use it a little bit as a backer for some kind of word or something. I thought about sewing it, but I think when I did the eco fabric one, I think I did the eco fabric one. I know at some point I sewed a ruffle onto one of my cards, and I didn't want to do that again. So because I'd already done it, so I was like, well, let me just keep working on this, and I will be exploring ideas this week as I prepare for my my project on Saturday. So here I've got the purple, and I really wanted to add pink as well, but there really wasn't enough room. So I used the pink one and just go inside each of my black circles. And I mean, it doesn't really show up as pink, unfortunately. but I knew I wanted to do something on that, so I've got a fine liner-ish thing that I created with, y'all, I don't even know what's in it. It's got gold medium and gold paint, and I don't even know what else. But I'm just going to make dots inside of these, and I'll tell you that out of the corner of my eye with these dots inside these black circles, these end up almost looking like sunflowers to me. It's so funny. So I'm going to add these gold dots. I think I go ahead and dry this while I am looking at it. And I start thinking, okay, I've got to add border to this somehow, but I don't know what I want to do. What's going to be, I've got all these colors. I've got this black. What can I do for a border? So I got my black fine liner, and I'm going to tell you, I cut out some of this because I was having so much trouble with that black fine liner. It is super clogged up. And I struggled with it and struggled with it. I've got it all over my desk where I kept trying to test it. Kept trying to clean it out. So I finally am like, oh, I just need to stop. I just need to stop. I'm trying to, I tried to clean it out here again. It was not doing the things I wanted it to do. But it is black paint. It's more black paint on there. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this and decide that it really doesn't add much to the card. So I've got this glitter pen from the Dollar Tree. I don't even know if you can buy these anymore, but that's where I bought it. And I'm going to go around the edges, and it adds this like really pretty glitter sparkle to it. The yellow gold of it doesn't really show up. And so I look at it some more, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Make it a little bit thicker. So that works. Whatever. Struggling, y'all. Struggling. I hate that this was supposed to be my little Pride Month little tribute, and I struggled so much with it. But I'm happy that I did it. So I knew, like I said, I wanted to use the rust fabric with some words. So I grabbed these Chip Quote Theories from Tim Holtz, and I'm looking for something that'll fit on that card and kind of also pay tribute to the idea of Pride Month and all of that. So there are a couple different things in here. I'm trying to remember what it's. Yeah, finally found one that says "Be true to you," which I thought was perfect. So to keep this from being too bulky, I did peel some of the back off of this, and I know I'm going to need to trim it down. I start inking it with some Black Soot Distress ink, but I was like, no, trim it first, Hope. So go ahead and trim it down, and then I start inking the edges again. And then I decided to grab that cheesecloth that was sitting there. I started looking at different fabrics, but I was like, I wonder how the cheesecloth would do, because it would still allow some of that background to show through. So it's going to take me a little bit of time because there's like, I don't know, at least 4 layers of cheesecloth there. When you use cheesecloth, y'all, it's super thick. I mean, like, not thick, but it's got lots of layers. So I cut this out knowing that I had at least 2 layers there. So it takes me a second to try to get these apart because it doesn't wanna. And there, once I get it apart, I will start folding it and moving it around. I decided to just go ahead and fold it, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, that's kind of perfect. So I'll grab my Fabri-Tac, put it straight onto my card, and then and everything's falling over at this point because I was like, oh, just get it done, Hope, just get it done. Fabri-Tac is also going on the back of my chip quotes, and then I'm going to decide I still need a better border on here. I'm not happy with the border that I've got going on, so I grabbed yet another fine line bottle. I don't know why I was feeling the fine liner. I just was, but I get my white one, and I am going to use it because that Be True to You is white. I thought that would be kind of perfect to kind of bring that to the surface. I'm going to use that white one, which works a bit better than the black one, and just make squiggly lines all around the outside on top of that gold glittery and the black mess that I had done, and it helps cover some of that up, but you can still see the glitter through, which is fun. Alright guys, that is going to be it for card number 36, in which I used rust fabric, black paint, and border to make this card. I do ink the edges of this card, but it's not like a big deal. Okay guys, I am looking forward to seeing what you create for week 36, or if this is your week 1, go for it. I hope you like this. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will see y'all very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.